Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Algorithm Minds. My name is Asan Khoram and in this channel I teach programming skills in Python, MATLAB and R programming. I also teach Tableau or data visualization tools. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to teach you how you can actually convert a MATLAB code into Python code with the help of tool ChatGPT. So we will go towards step by step and we will take some exercises from the MATLAB code and go to ChatGPT and we will ask ChatGPT to convert into Python code. Then finally we will take that Python code and try to run it on Jupyter Notebook. And the last I will also teach you how you can actually directly run Python code on MATLAB. So it's a highly resourceful video. I suggest you to stick to the end and watch this video completely. So let's move on. This live script demonstrates how to write MATLAB code for P programming constructs like loops, while loops, differentiation, and plotting. And then we will learn to convert these examples to Python using ChatGPT. So this is a for loop. Here we have any value from 1 to 10 with an interval of 1. Okay. And we have already created squares. Okay. And here you can see that it's created based on the size of n. So whatever the size of n is, like in our case it will be like 10, it will create an array of 10 digits that will have the value zeros in it. So the function zeros actually creates a matrix or an array of 0 elements in it. Okay. So, and here size n defined, and we are calculating the size of n, which in our case is 10. So here the input is zeros with round bracket and 10. So we have already pre-allocated matrix or an array of size 10. Okay. Now once that being done, we are using for loop here. I is equal to 1 colon length n. Length n again calculate the length or what are the total elements that are currently present in n. So in our case is 10. Okay, so what we is going to do, it will iterate our each length or each element. Then using an I index, we are actually calculating the square of n. Okay, here I represents 1, 2, 3, 4. So for every iteration it will calculate the square of that value. For example, if I is 3, so it will calculate the square of 3 and then store it in the matrix and it is I. So once that is done, what we are going to do, we are using display function that will simply display the string value, and finally we will display the squares, in our case which are the squares from 1 to 10. Okay, so this is the code that we want to actually convert into Python. So we will simply copy that code and we will go towards ChatGPT and we'll ask, hey ChatGPT, I want this code of MATLAB to be converted into Python code. Then we'll just simply paste the Python code, and finally we will also like to display the values. So in our case it will be the squares. Okay, okay, so this is the code. So we are simply going to copy that code and we will go towards Jupyter Notebook environment. And I have pasted the code. So you can see that it has successfully converted that code into Python code. Let me just run this block of code for you. So now you can see that we have actually got this list of squares. Square is a list that contains the square of values from 1 to 10, like 1, 4, 9, 16, 36, and so we have successfully converted that code. Now going back to the MATLAB environment, in the same way we would like to calculate the while loop. Okay, so we have like here we have initialized two variables. The first one is sum total is equal to 0 and the second variable is I, which is value is 1. Okay, we say that while sum total, this value is less than or equal to 50, what you are actually going to do, you are going to do what two things. The sum total will be equal to sum total plus I. Okay, and once it's done that, for example, for the first iteration where the sum total will have a value of 0 and I have a value of 1, so sum total will be equal to 1. Then it updates the value of I, so I is equal to I plus 1, so in that case the I will convert to 2. Then it will again check the condition that whether this sum total is less than equal to 50. If that's true, it will again run this one. In that case, right now the sum total is value has a value of 1 and I has a value of 2, so it's a value updated to 3. And then we alternately we are going to update the value of 5. So this loop will keep on running until the sum total is equal to or greater than 50. So once that has been completed, we say that the total sum is number to string. So here we are functioning using num to string that will convert whatever the value that is present in sum total to a string value. And after adding numbers up to, so it will calculate the I value here. Where I, so basically it calculates the how many numbers are needed to add into enable to so in order to convert that sum total equal to or greater than 50. So that's the logic behind this code, and you can see that the sum total is 55 after adding numbers up to 10 values. Okay, so I'm going to simply copy that code and then I will go towards ChatGPT. I will say hey ChatGPT, convert this code which is in MATLAB to Python code. Then I will paste the code in brackets. So it has successfully converted that code. So let me just copy that code and go to Jupyter Notebook environment. So we have we have declared in two variables sums total and I, and then we are applying while loop. You know that in Python we always apply colon to logical statements like while or if. Then here we are using sum total plus is equal to I, so it means that sum total is equal to sum total plus I, and the same way it means that I is equal to I plus 1. So let me just run this code for you. So we get the exact same results. The total sum is 55 after adding numbers up to 10. So that's how you can successfully convert a MATLAB code into Python code. So let's move on and actually go towards plotting. So we have a plotting code of in MATLAB. We have like X, which is an array. We have developed that array by the use of colon notation here. That array will start with -10 with an interval of 0.1. It will end at 10 value, and y will be the element wise operation that will be the square value of x. Okay, now once the data has been defined, we will initialize a figure space. Then we will use the function plot of MATLAB and pass number of input arguments. The first two input arguments are actually the x and y values. The second input argument is m. The next input argument is actually the key value pair. We are defining the length, width, and then setting its value to do 1.5. Okay, so here m defines the color of the plot, okay, the color of the line. Then we define the title by using this statement here. Then we define the x label and y label, x and y, and then we are finally setting grid to on. It means that you will see a lightly dim version of lines on the grid points. Now when you run this plot, you will see a plot something like this. Okay, we have x value, we have y values, we have title, and this is the plot of this. So let me just copy that code and go to ChatGPT. Hey ChatGPT, convert this MATLAB code into Python code. So I will copy paste the code. So since in Python we need a library in order to plot that thing, so we will use matplotlib library. And for numerical calculation we are using numpy. So I will copy this code and I will go to a Jupyter notebook environment and I will paste it. So now you can see that we have successfully plotted, where we have x label, y labels, then we have the plot of x y is equal to x square. Okay, finally let's move on towards the final section here, where we would like to actually run a Python script in MATLAB environment. And how we can actually do that, it's a bit hectic, but it's quite easy to implement once you understand the logic. Okay, so here we will first initialize a variable Python code for our reference, that whatever we are going to write here will be a Python script. Okay, and once we will put equal to sign, then we will use square brackets at the beginning, at the end. Okay, and this is the notation how you can define a Python script in MATLAB environment in the form of strings. Now you can see that here dot colon is used to define a string notation. Okay, a string value. But here in the string we are actually writing our Python code. So we are defining the list. My list is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, now that's been done. We will have to tell that, okay, this is the first line of our Python script. So in order to go towards the next line, so we have to use comma here. Okay, so comma, new line, comma, then we will write another thing which actually just returns the value here. Okay, so whatever you want this Python script to return, it will be used here. Okay, so like whatever the Python script is run, what kind of value we want out of that Python script. In this case we are using my list, so we want to extract the list from that Python script. So once you have defined that Python script, Python underscore code variable name, and within the square brackets you have used string notation with new line to actually write the Python script. Now that has been done. In order to run the Python script, you will use this function pyrun of MATLAB. Okay, so list from Python is a variable. Okay, then we equate this value by calling the function pyrun, and then we will pass two input arguments. The first input argument is actually the name of the variable we used earlier to define the Python script, and comma, and then we will pass the value that we want to extract from this Python script. So in our case is my list. So we are passing two input arguments. And finally, we would like to display the list created. So we will use the same thing, this list from Python. Okay, now you can see that it gives us this description about the list from Python, that Python list with values. So it's different from the actual set of data, like we have string double cell. So in order to convert that data into MATLAB format of data, we have to use a function something like string to double or string. Okay, so this is how is it. Okay, so that's how you can actually implement a Python script in MATLAB, and then use the function pyrun to run a Python script in MATLAB. Let's move on and I write a more complicated or a little bit lengthy script in Python. So in this case, we are actually calculating the squares of values from 1 to 10, and we will by using a for loop. So we will use the same notation. We will define Python underscore code, then equal to, then square brackets, then the square bracket we will write the Python script. So here you can see that first of all we have initialized a variable number is equal to range 1 to 10. So it will take values from 1 to 10, where it will include 11. Then we will write new line to tell that, okay, we are going towards the second line of our Python script. So we will have initialized a variable or list, an empty list with the squares, or variable name squares with an empty list. Now in the next line, we are using for loop for n in numbers. Then we put colon. What we are actually using append to to actually append the value of n square into squares list, and finally we are returning the squares. Okay, in the same way we will initialize squares from Python, then we will call function Python, then we will pass two input argument. The first input argument is actually the variable that contains the Python script, and the second input argument is actually the value that we want to extract from this Python script. In our case, it's squares. Now, once I run that, now you can see that it has successfully run Python script in MATLAB environment. And when we actually display the value squares from Python, you see that this is the Python list with values. So it's not a string value, it's not a double, it's a Python list with values. So it gives us the actual data type that is stored in Python environment. So it's a list with values of squares of 1 to 10. So that's how you can actually implement Python script in MATLAB. I hope this tutorial have been helpful. If you have any questions regarding today's tutorial, feel free to write down your comments. I will be happy to help you out. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you soon in the next video.